So let's talk about alignment and strokes. So, in the same way when you get out of your chair, I've talked about this before, you're leaving the seat, but maybe there's adaptations in your body that you're not completely leaving behind. And so two of the ones that we can talk about that I know that are very common is that increased hyperkyphosis, extra curve of the upper back. And then also the tendency for the hips to be particularly tight, where we're so used to having our hips flexed that when you swim, your legs are stretched out behind you. But sometimes that tight hip means that when you stretch your legs back behind you when you swim, you also tilt your pelvis in a way that can compress your lower back. So just getting in the water and being face down with your arms stretched out in front and your legs back behind you can set you off before you've even swam a stroke. Now you're in a little bit of too much lower back compression and too much cervical compression before you've even done anything. And then the stroke now has you, kick your legs back and forth. Or if you're doing the butterfly, you're actually undulating your pelvis up and down. You're flexing and extending your lumbar spine. And if you are doing breaststroke where you're picking your head straight up out of the water, and I think butterfly too,
right,
where you're coming straight up out of the water. Now you've got extra compression in your neck and your lower back. So some things that you can think about is the good old head ramping exercise. Like you can find it on my website. We need the head ramping stickers to go on the inside of your swim goggles or something like that.
Yeah. Well, we have this horrible thing that we used to do with kids, which is put a tennis ball under their chin and you have to hold the tennis ball
as you come up out of the water.
Yeah.
I actually kind of like it.
Oh, it's great.
Like that. Yes.
Because I'm going to show from the side.
Get your tennis ball. Get your orange.
What do you have? Tennis ball and you just hold it. And watch, because if you watch in the Olympics, they won't move they won't lift their chin at all. Yes, there you go.
Okay, so look, I have my mason jar lid.
There you go.
So I'll just show it. I mean, we'll put this video clip in the show notes because I do think it's such a visual thing. So if you have hyperkyphosis, when you come up and you take a breath, it tends to be mostly at the neck instead of coming up from the upper back. So if you have something under your chin as you come up, it's going to make you extend your thoracic spine a little bit more than your cervical spine. Now, if you're hyperkyphotic, this probably won't work for you in the moment because you can't just extend your thoracic spine if it's very stiff. So I would work on mobilizing the thoracic part of the spine, especially if you want to keep swimming and you're noticing. A lot of people come to swimming later in life. I think we had a question in our virtual studio membership. There was a question there about someone who was going to competitive swimming in their 60s, just starting out, and was asking specifically about the upper back. To work on mobilizing the upper back and working on the back of the shoulders and strengthening, making the extension of the upper back easier on you on land so that it was less resistant to the movement in water. So you're not doing so many neck crankings. And the same thing for your hips, to when you're in the water, instead of arching your lower back, to think about a little bit of a posterior tilt. So I don't know if you have to hold an orange.
I don't have anything.
Your rib cage.
Yeah. I don't have anything for that. Let me think. What do we tell? Yeah, nothing as easy as that.
No. So just the idea, I always think of if you do imagine if you were standing up straight, but you did a little bit of a sit up, but you didn't let your head or your legs go anywhere, your upper body would just curl up a wee bit. And if you have that tension there, then when you're kicking, your kicks can come more from your hips and less from your lower back. And that would, hope to reduce some of the repetitive use issues that you're having. But remember that you always have the ability to cross train. So you don't have to give up swimming, but maybe you need to vary your strokes. Maybe your warm-up stroke and your cool-down stroke could be different than what you want to really practice for speed or, competitiveness, even if it's just against yourself.
Brilliant.
I want to go swimming now.